So as many of you saw, last week I made some predictions about what exactly my Pokemon team would be for Pokemon Scarlet. Given that there's a Ceruledge in the thumbnail, it's safe to say that my team looked a little bit different. Hey Pokemon Masters, Toby here, and over 100 new species of Pokemon have been discovered in the Paldea region. As well as Pokemon, there are lots of theories and thoughts that I have. I won't be covering any big end game spoiler type stuff here. However, if you want to go in totally blind and you don't want to see all of the new Pokemon, skip away, because one of these Pokemon isn't even catchable until like right at the very end of the game. So spoiler warning for both early game designs and late game designs. I am excited. I am stoked about a number of these designs. I also don't like a number of these designs. That will be another different video coming soon, but this is the My Pokemon team video. But given that I use 6 Pokemon, well 7 if you include the Pokemon you ride, on your team throughout your adventure, it's sort of also just like a top 10 general favorite Scarlet and Violet Pokemon list. I just realized as I was scripting out my top 10 favorite new Pokemon, 6 of them were on my team anyway, so I'll do like a bunch of honorable mentions about Pokemon I didn't get to use that also I really enjoyed. Speaking of all these incredible new species of Pokemon, we are working super hard right now to get the brand new Tree of Evolution poster done so that you can see it in its complete form as quickly as possible, and shipping should begin December 1st, so don't forget to click the link at the top of the description to be among the first, and if you are in the pre-order period, there might be a little something extra in your package. It hugely supports the channel, so click that link and get yourself a Tree of Evolution, the brand new poster for yourself or for a friend with all of the new creatures on there. Right. Here is my team / top 10 favorite Pokemon of the region, starting with, of course, the Pokemon we all start with, starter Pokemon. I was given a choice back when that first trailer came out. Did I want the grass cat? Did I want the water bird? I am a bird keeper after all. Or did I want the little fire crocodile? The fire crocodile resonates with something in me. Fuecoco is a Pokemon that of course reminds me of Totodile, the first starter I picked after Pikachu in Pokemon Yellow. I kind of knew I'd probably pick Fuecoco, but as always for me, it all really depended on what the final evolutions were, and yes, I looked them up before the games came out, so I knew what the possibility was. I did not want to pick a starter Pokemon and evolve it up and become disappointed. To be quite frank, that's what happened to me in Legends Arceus and in Sword and Shield. I really didn't like Rillaboom that much. The amount of times in recent years I've played through a Pokemon game and thought, oh, I shouldn't have evolved the Pokemon. And I'm gonna be honest, when it comes to Fuecoco's final evolution, which by the way is going to be shown on screen in about 5 seconds, so this is the, again, click away if you don't want the spoilers. Okay, fine. Fuecoco's final evolution, not a fan. Honestly, I saw people really bigging this up and a lot of people seem to really like it. For me, even though it stays on all 4s, which is really, really cool for our more animalistic starter Pokemon, which is what I like, I do not like the design, and I do not see it as a natural evolution from Fuecoco and Fuecoco's middle stage. So I made the decision to make the game a little bit more challenging for myself and still pick Fuecoco, because the final evolutions of Sprigatito and Quaxly I also just didn't vibe with that much. And I picked Fuecoco and I didn't evolve it. And the amount of times I had to spam press B on level up, people were telling me, dude, you need to give your Pokemon an Everstone, but I actually gave it a charcoal to hold because it really needed all the help it could get. But I traveled around the region with Fuecoco by my side, and it is still by my side at level 70. I love to have it on my team, and I have absolutely no intentions of evolving it. Honorable mention number 1, kind of that first honorable mention, a Pokemon that would make my top 10 list. I did see other people play using Sprigatito, and I saw a Meowscarada in-game, and this is the downside of seeing images before you see in-game. I saw the Crocodile Pokemon, I saw Fuecoco's evolution in-game as well, and didn't like it there, but Meowscarada I actually changed my opinion on once I saw the model in the world in the game. Next run through, definitely using a Sprigatito and evolving it all the way up. Quaxly, despite the fact I'm a bird keeper, this one, not for me. Now, next up on my journey, it's early journey. I gotta pick something up, and I turned right as soon as you enter the first kind of like miniature open world section of the game. And I went exploring. I found some cool little gimmighoul hanging out, giving out coins. I found this big purple door to an ancient chamber. What could be in there? The mystery in me started rising, and I'm like, oh, this is what I come into a Pokemon game for. And then, just in front of that, I saw the other thing I really like about Pokemon, a cute little Wooper. A little cute ground type Wooper. It's a pooper. It's poop Wooper. And I was like, I have to find out what this Pokemon evolves into, because I've become a huge Quagsire fan over the last couple of years. We got this plush Quagsire. Got this from the Pokemon Center Japan. It's like the squishiest, softest Quagsire. We literally, me and Phoebe cuddle this every single night and take turns sharing cuddling it. Actually needs a bit of a wash. So I was like, I gotta find out what the Paldean variant of this is gonna be. And it wasn't a Quagsire, but an all new Pokemon, Clodsire. And Clodsire I love it. I hope I can get a matching plush like this one so we can take it in turns cuddling them. Big fan of Wooper. Big fan of Paldean Wooper, big fan of Quagsire, and big fan of Clodsire. I don't know how they did it. They made a second design that is equally lovable. Ground Poison turned out to be a really nice combination of types to use on my team. This one had the Terrestrial Poison type. I didn't terrestrialize it that much. It was very much a defensive option that ended up holding leftovers and kept on kind of healing up, but allowed me to pivot and heal my team in battles in critical moments. Especially against the Titans, which ended up sort of being the first plotline that I finished. The Titans were something that I was really excited to explore because I wanted to know what the legends were of the Herba Mystica and why these Pokemon were becoming Titan Pokemon. And that first one, Clorf, I went up against it, I think, relatively sequentially in the order intended. And seeing the little Clorf scatter around, I thought, yeah, I'll catch a Clorf, why not? I was not intending to make it a full-time kind of party member, but when I caught it and I heard its cry, and listen to this. There is just something really wonderful about that sound that I think really matches the Pokemon. On top of that, seeing the mixture of textures on the model, the combination between crab shell that is kind of rock, but also the grass that surrounds its I guess its wrist ankles? It's joints. I really like Clorf, and while it wasn't the strongest on my team and probably the quickest to be replaced later down the line, Clorf is a Pokemon that, I really like it. It really, being the first Titan and being a single stage rock type, really evokes images of kind of like Brock's Onix from Gen 1. It was definitely powerful and helped me out in a couple tight spots, but I've really fallen in love with the design. I also quite early on my journey got the pre-evolution to Ceruledge. I just found it in a random mountain range and I knew it was kind of a rare one. I knew they weren't going to come up often. And I caught it. Now, I caught it knowing that if I was going to evolve it into a Ceruledge, I would need to trade with someone or work that out. But I was just so excited to play that I decided to go ahead and evolve it into Armarouge anyway. Now, if I play again, I'm absolutely playing Violet and absolutely using a Ceruledge because I still really, really love it. But Armarouge has kind of equaled out now thanks to me playing it. They're pretty even. The idea of this Pokemon that's this kind of fast special attacker that's blasting Lava Plume or Psychic Blasts at my opponent as it jumps over them with its agileness, I see it when this Pokemon battles. It became a staple on my team, and as the levels got higher and higher and the opponents became harder, Fuecoco honestly couldn't really keep up in its unevolved states, and so when I needed a powerful fire attacker, this is where Armarouge really shone. Yeah, super happy to have Armarouge on my team. Pokemon number 5 on my team already? Wait, yeah, I guess Pokemon number 5, though some members were replaced. Pokemon number 5, I picked up a Mankey. I had seen some of the leaks beforehand, and I had heard that Mankey evolves, that Primeape would evolve into a new evolution in this generation. I'd also heard similar of Bisharp, and I didn't know which I wanted to go for. And I guess this is honorable shout out to number 2 because it would make my honorable mention when I finally saw what Bisharp evolves into. King Gambit. I kind of wished I had picked that Pokemon because this design is so solid. It's like this big kind of shogun leader of the clan of Pawniards and Bisharps. Its Pokedex entry talks about how it's like the undisputed leader and will fight the other leaders. The way that you evolve it is super cool, and I do like it. But I am still happy with my choice because Mankey's new final evolution has become one of my favorites, and I cannot believe that they nailed the landing as well as they did. Very often when they take old Pokemon and they evolve them, like Dunsparce for example, I don't end up being a fan because I really feel like there's so much expectation about what that Pokemon could be. But Primeape getting a new evolution, okay, that was pretty cool. It's kind of a risk. It's a Gen 1 Pokemon. Like, what are they gonna do with it? I've always really liked Mankey and Primeape ever since I did a run through of Pokemon Yellow with a Mankey as one of my aces, basically. And it happened again. Primeape was helping lead the team with powerful fighting type moves, but I was worried about the psychic type gym. And then I learned the method of evolution. To have this new ghost type move, Raging Fists, and to use it 20 times. And then I went out there into the field and I did exactly that. And Primeape evolved into one of my new favorite Pokemon, probably my second favorite brand new Pokemon, Annihilape. The name is perfect, the design is perfect, the in-game model is perfect, the lore behind it, the Pokedex entries that talk about how Primeape can get so mad that it can die, and then that's exactly what happens here. Annihilape is one of the coolest new Pokemon I've ever seen, and I cannot believe that we're like 1,000 Pokemon in, which by the way, we gotta talk about that at some point. We're like 1,000 Pokemon in, and they're still nailing evolutions to original designs. Like, I just think that is absolutely fantastic. Annihilape is a 10 out of 10 Pokemon for me. And I was so happy to have it join my team, and it honestly led my team through so many victories. In the late game, when you're battling a psychic gym, a ghost gym, and an ice gym, having that fighting ghost combo is really cool. Now, do you remember that gate that I mentioned at the beginning, the kind of purple glowing gate? Well, I discovered another one up the north side of the map, and nearby some stakes in the ground glowing with a particular light. It wasn't long before I figured out that, oh, you remove those stakes from the ground, if you can find a bunch of them in the area, then the chains come undone and the gate will open. Immediately, my entire playthrough was just sidetracked with finding all of these. I didn't follow any guides. It's honestly the coolest legendary hunt I've done probably since the Gen 3 Reggies. Just figuring it out for myself. Wow, I found all of the swords in the top left corner of the map, and I opened the door, and there was a legendary Pokemon in there that I won't show you for now. I do need to do a video and a theory about these Pokemon, this quartet of legendaries that I think is super, super cool, but I didn't like the one that I saw. But I remembered that purple gate from the very beginning, back where I caught Wooper, and I decided to head down there, and now, with all the Titans done and my traversal options open to me, I traversed the entire of that area of the map, and over the course of several hours, with zero help, I found all of the stakes. I opened up the chamber, and inside I found a new legendary Pokemon, one that I think has one of the coolest designs that I've ever seen. You ready? It's a grass dark snail called Wu-Chen. And I think this Pokemon is absolutely phenomenal in its design. It's Pokedex entry talking about how it's like the cursed king, written its anguishes on a tablet or whatever. Like, this is stuff I've got to look into for theory crafting, but just generally as a Pokemon on my team, I gave it the Big Root item, and it had Leech Seed and Giga Drain, and it was a Pokemon that just became a complete wall on my team, helped me out, but also was not lackluster in its attack power. I don't normally use legendary Pokemon on my in-game teams, but it felt earned. Like, this is the first time in a long time I've seen legendary Pokemon in-game where I can go, yeah, that feels like a real earned legendary Pokemon, and I was super happy to add it to my team, making for my full team of 6. But there were other Pokemon to catch. Pokemon after battling the champion. Because this game's weird. It doesn't really have a post-game. You do the 3 stories. The champion is just one of the stories. And then you end up in the final story, but the credits isn't till the end of that. There are some Pokemon that appear fresh in that section. And the reason, by the way, I'm being super vague about these things as I'm saying them is I'm giving anyone who doesn't want stuff spoiled the opportunity to hop off. But for those of you still here, the Paradox Pokemon. Sliverwing, or Silverwing, I can't remember which, is the new ancient form of Volcarona. And while I didn't add it to my team, I cannot deny how absolutely cool this Pokemon is. It's almost dragon-like on the back end. It looks like it's evolved from, like, I don't know, like a Salamence or something, which is super fitting because at the very end of the game, I encountered a Pokemon that has become my absolutely uncontested, even above Annihilate, tier 0 Pokemon. The Pokemon that I added into my team for any kind of final post-game exploration, the Pokemon that is like kind of a bird because of all the feathers. I'm talking about the Paradox Salamence. This was the final Pokemon on my team, pretty much replacing Clorf or Fuecoco. They ended up in the boxes quite a lot as I swapped out these other Pokemon. But this version of Salamence is, in my opinion, even cooler than the Mega version, cooler than the regular version. I think it is absolutely sick. As a bird keeper, and I know it's Dark Dragon, how is it a bird? It's got feathers. I could see this guy becoming a new mascot pretty quickly. Steeped in legend and mythology, a reference to Mega Evolution in its Pokedex entry, the key Pokemon, of course, of Zinnia being Mega Salamence, the lore keeper, and what I do here on the channel being Pokemon lore and theory, of which I have plenty coming up. I cannot express enough how cool I think this Pokemon is. And it became my my absolute favorite Pokemon. Roaring Moon, it's absolutely sick. I also want to give a quick special shout out to Koraidon that was on my team throughout the entirety of my adventure, but I didn't use it really in battle other than the battle that you have to use it in. I definitely felt like they handled the addition of this legendary Pokemon being on your team at the beginning very, very well. However, I would be cautious about them doing stuff like this in the future because, like, how many future legendary Pokemon can be vehicles? You know what I mean? I did pick up a Cyclizar briefly for my adventure as well. It stuck with me for about 1 gym. Shout out to that Cyclizar. It it was nice having a dragon type move just to help me out for a little bit. But yeah, ultimately, these Pokemon are all very cool, but my final lineup, my final team as I consider it now, regardless of my top 10 favorite Pokemon, is my starter, Fuecoco, my Clodsire and my Armarouge, Annihilate, Wuchen, and Roaring Moon. This was my final team. There were lots of Pokemon, by the way, that I couldn't gush about. Pokemon that I absolutely think are kind of awful. But those will be discussed in another video about my least favorite Pokemon of the Paldea region, designs that I think are absolutely awful. Like Dunsparce. If you'd like to see the designs, both good and bad though, appear on the new Tree of Evolution, that's what's gonna be happening. We're working on it as fast as we can. Link at the top of the description to pick it up. Supports me and the channel and the art Phoebe is doing, and so just thank you so much to you who've been picking it up. Let me know what your teams are in the comments down below, and of course, so hi Pokemon Masters.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeeper Toby. That makes you a Pokemon Master.
A tremendous thank you to those of you who've been supporting this channel year-round on Patreon, but a special thank you to the big patrons of this month, Michael Hornschuch, The Alligator, Jedruben, and Anthony Lee. Thank you.